Nikki Haley, it is time for you to get out. Stay tuned, everybody. For the best meat you have ever eaten in your life, go to samsbutchershop.com. Enter the coupon code TTT when you check out for a 10% discount. Hello, everybody. I am trailertrashtim. Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for being here, and a happy Wednesday to you. I am glad that you have joined me today. I'm back home, back in the saddle, and back to our regularly scheduled format, I suppose you could say, back from my trip to Missouri. Marina says, hey, as you know, I went up there on Sunday. I posted a little video of the trip, and I got to see her for a few hours. Marina and her dad didn't get to see Benita, but they're up there taking care of him. His surgery is scheduled for a week from this coming Friday on February the 2nd. And so we will see how things go. He's in for a significant recovery period, I think. So, we're just kind of seeing how things go, and we'll deal with whatever comes as it happens. So thank you for your thoughts and prayers and comments and what have you. But let's get back to our regular format. And I want to say that this video in particular is just for Nikki Haley. I would love for Nikki Haley to watch this video, because Nikki Haley, Nimrata, Neocon Nikki Haley, it is time for you to get out of this race. Last night, Donald Trump defeated Nikki Haley in the New Hampshire primary, as expected. Trump has won Iowa. Since I last made a regular video, of course, DeSantis got out of the race, as he should have done. Vivek left the race right after the Iowa. And then DeSantis got out and endorsed Trump. That left Trump and Neocon Nikki as the last two people standing in the race. The next primary is in South Carolina, the state that Nikki Haley was once the governor of, and I predict she's going to lose there as well. Senator Tim Scott, also of South Carolina, has endorsed President Trump as well. So I'm speaking of things as they stand in what should be the real world. And what I mean by that is we know that there's always a fair amount of election shenanigans at work here. There are things happening that, quite frankly, are beyond the control of the voters, unfortunately, and this has been well documented in states like Georgia and in states like Arizona, where there were all sorts of irregularities in the last election of 2020, which threw the election to the current occupant of the White House. As you know, that evening, I well remember that evening, when I went to bed, Trump had the election well in hand. But at some point overnight, they simply stopped counting votes, which I have never seen in a presidential election, or any election for that matter. And then sometime during the early wee hours of the morning, they started counting votes again, and magically, mysteriously, they started finding all sorts of votes for the current occupant of the White House. I would say emphatically that election was rigged. It was stolen. I don't think there's any doubt about it. And that makes you wonder why Haley, who has no obvious path to the nomination, has not gotten out of the race. Now, today is Wednesday. Maybe she will get out. I don't know what her intentions are, but she should have already dropped out and endorsed Trump, so that we can make a united front for the upcoming election this coming November. So as I post this video, she's still in the race on Wednesday. Why is she not getting out? That's really what I kind of want to talk about today, because DeSantis got out. Haley is still in. Trump, again, with all things being fair and equitable and above board, Trump is going to win the nomination. I can recognize that. Trump wasn't my preferred candidate. I was a supporter of Vivek. But, Vivek got out and endorsed Trump, and that's where I am. I mean, Trump is, there's a lot of things about Trump that I like. I don't dislike Trump. There's a lot of things about him that aggravated me, particularly in the area of fiscal issues, where Trump, in my opinion, is just a train wreck. But I understand Trump loves his country. I believe that. He's an anti-war candidate, as I can best tell. And so I will absolutely pull the chain this November for Donald Trump because we don't have any other option, let's face it. But why is Nikki Haley still in this race? It's really a curious thing. One reason she's still in is that's what I'm going to focus on here. One obvious reason she's in is because she still has donors. She still has money. And it takes a lot of money to run a campaign. And of course, she has some big backers behind her. Neocon Nikki Haley is the epitome of a deep state candidate. As I have maintained on this channel, neocon Nikki Haley, Nimrata Nikki Haley, is a candidate that the deep state would be fine with. And I'm talking about people who actually run the country in both the elected area of government and in the bureaucratic wing of government. No matter if they have a D or an R by their name, it is the people such as Mitch McConnell and Charles Schumer and Mitt Romney, and all of these milquetoast, neocon, war-loving, money-spending, power-grubbing people who are interchangeable regardless of party affiliation. It is these type people that would be absolutely fine with Nikki Haley. Make no mistake that the aforementioned people, the deep state, both elected in the bureaucracy, they despise Donald Trump. They see Trump as a threat, but Haley is perfectly acceptable to them. Now, I have maintained that if they can somehow wrest control of the nominating process on the GOP side and somehow get Haley into that slot and make her the GOP nominee, it doesn't really matter then who the Democrats run as their nominee. As things stand right now, it's going to be Joe Biden. But of course, it's a big question mark whether or not Biden is going to make it to the convention, much less the general election. And you're starting to hear rumblings now on the Democratic side that there may be some things happening with Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama may be dipping her toe into the race. Can you imagine if Michelle Obama becomes a factor in this election? Now, again, I have maintained that what we are seeing currently in the White House is the third term of Barack Obama, who ostensibly lives down the street from the White House. He is a puppet master. He is on record, and I did a video on this recently, where he basically said he would love to be working behind the scenes and basically pulling the change, pulling the strings on whoever is seated in the Oval Office. And I maintain that's exactly what's happening. Biden has his handlers, and his handlers are Obama people such as Valerie Jarrett, people such as Susan Rice. These are the people who are handling Joe Biden, and they are in bed with Barack Obama. So Obama is not far from the Oval Office, both literally and figuratively. But I believe that it's the preference of the deep state that they can somehow derail the Trump campaign and insert Haley into the nomination. It goes like this. And perhaps this is the reason Haley is still in the race. If somehow Trump can be taken out of the process, then maybe the logical thinking would be that whoever is left would naturally ascend to the nomination. Right now, the person that is in second place is Nikki Haley. but she has no discernible path to the nomination. She has lost Iowa. Now she has lost New Hampshire. She is almost surely to lose her home state of South Carolina. So it would seem the logical thing that she would go ahead and get out of the race, particularly since she's going to lose South Carolina by all estimates. You would think she would want to spare herself the obvious humiliation of losing her home state. I mean, do you think she'd actually want to lose her home state? That'd kind of be a black eye for her, don't you believe? But is she really calling her own shots? Is she her own man, so to speak? Or are there forces behind her who are telling her you need to stay in the race because we've got plans? Now, I have maintained the same thing that the aforementioned Vivek Ramaswamy has maintained. The deep state, the powers that be, the elected and the bureaucratic state, the well-heeled, well-oiled, well-funded machine that utterly despises Donald Trump is trying everything within their power to keep him from a second term in the White House. The current strategy to get rid of Donald Trump is a legal strategy, which is to say, to absolutely get him sidetracked with all of these frivolous lawsuits in all of these states that are bringing suits against Trump, New York, Georgia, Florida, and a little side action, taking him off the ballots in places like Colorado and Maine, where a Secretary of State just willy-nilly says, well, I don't think he should be on the ballot, so I'm just going to take him off the ballot. The unelected Secretary of State of Maine just takes Trump off of the ballot. It's an act of desperation. They're pulling every lever they can find to keep him out of the nominating process. So the thinking is that they can so attack him with the frivolous lawsuits that will, derail his campaign, that he would be forced to get out. Do you believe it's actually possible that Donald Trump could be sent to jail? I maintain it is possible. These people are ruthless, they are bloodthirsty, and they will do anything to keep Trump from gaining the GOP nomination and subsequently the White House. So he has just been bombarded with all these frivolous lawsuits. And if you don't think that they could bring Trump down this way, look at all the people that have surrounded Trump that they've taken down. Look at all the attorneys that represented Trump that they have taken down, such as Rudy Giuliani. I mean, they have literally bankrupted this man with their frivolous lawsuits. It's the Alex Jones effect. They just bring so many frivolous lawsuits and the deck is stacked against them, and they have no recourse. They just absolutely destroy these people's lives. This is how Democrats operate, ladies and gentlemen, and it's also how many Republicans operate, the ones who are just like the Democrats. The thing that people like the McConnells and the Romneys of the world and the late McCains, the people like this who just happen to have an R by their name, the thing these people are consumed with more than anything else is power. Don't doubt me. These people exist for one reason. That is to get power, and they'll do anything to get it. And once they get it, they'll do anything in their power to maintain it. They will destroy anything or anybody that gets in their path in order to hold on to power. They lust after power. They crave the influence, and they worship the money that they make once they get into office, the money they make from powerful corporations and powerful super PACs and powerful funding from sources that are oftentimes not even based in America or by Americans. That should be illegal, don't you believe? Look how much money Big Pharma can throw behind these people, or the defense industry and corporations such as Boeing, who completely enriched a neocon Nimrata, Nikki Haley, who left her position as a United Nations ambassador virtually bankrupt and in just a couple or 3 years becomes a multimillionaire. What do you think of people like Nancy Pelosi who come into office not all that well off financially? They're certainly not wealthy. And just a few years into office, they are multimillionaires buying mansions on the beach in Florida and in Hawaii. When are these people ever home? Little side note for you here. I'll get back to that in just a moment. But I was talking with Marina about this. I wish she was with me right now. Actually, we're going to try and investigate doing a live stream where we can be on camera together since we're apart geographically right now. Hopefully that'll work out. But Marina brought up a really great suggestion. And maybe she can comment down below and flesh this thing out where I missed the mark if I do. But her idea was this. How about this? How about every state determine the compensation for their representatives in Congress? What other company do you know of where the employees get to vote themselves a pay raise? Anybody know of a company where you can do that? Are you offended by the fact that members of Congress get into Congress, and once they're in Congress, they can say to themselves, you know, we're not making enough money. We think we're going to vote ourselves a pay raise. Well, who's going to stop them? You? Me? We can't stop them. All we can do is hopefully vote them out. But Democrat and Republican, not all of them, but the majority of them obviously just, bam, vote themselves a pay raise. It's obscene. It's absurd. It's criminal. I mean, for one thing, with our advanced technological age, why do they even need to be in Washington, D.C.? Why can't they vote over Zoom? What if they were restricted to remaining in their districts? Number one, that would give their constituents more access to them. That would be a good thing. Number two, perhaps the constituents who are watching out for such a thing could have keep a more watchful eye on lobbyists and who is influencing their representatives. But Marina's idea was, what if the state like Alabama had the power to say, every member of Congress that is from the state of Alabama, their salary, their compensation package is going to be determined not by them and not by the federal government, but we will decide how much money they make. Think about your state that you're watching me from, if you're watching me from America. Do you think Marina's got a pretty good idea here? Is she onto something? Do you think it's a good idea for your state to determine the compensation for your representatives from your state? It would be funny if you had a couple of states that would say, yeah, we're going to pay you about $25,000 a year. Oh, and by the way, we're not going to let you see any lobbyists, and you're going to have to stay home and stay in your district, and you can just vote over Zoom or what have you. Just something to think about, right? But back to Nimrata neocon Nikki Haley. As I have said, the deep state will stop at nothing to stop Donald Trump from ascending to office. And I have maintained that right now they are trying every possible legal avenue to keep him from getting the nomination. Vivek has said, and I concur, that they will stop at nothing to stop Donald Trump. Which is to say, if they can't stop him in the court system or in the judicial by bringing all of the lawsuits against him, if they can't stop him in that manner, is there another option on the table from the deep state? Are you hearing what I'm saying right now, my dear viewers? Do you believe that the deep state has ever done anything worse to a president or anybody that's running for office than what they're doing to Trump right now? Oh, the precedent is there, is it not? Do you believe they'll stop at nothing to stop Donald Trump from getting to the presidency again? I have no doubt. And it is for that reason that it makes sense, and only that reason, that it makes sense to me that Nikki Haley remains in the race. Now, she may get out today. I don't know what she's going to do, but next to Donald Trump, she has the most delegates thus far. She picked up a few delegates last night in New Hampshire. I don't know if she got any in Iowa or not. I didn't check that state. But Nikki Haley is number 2. So if you remove number 1, who's left? I'll tell you who's left. The person that is left is the person that the deep state would be fine with having in the White House. The deep state did not care whether George W. Bush won or Al Gore won. The deep state did not care whether George W. Bush won or John Kerry won. It didn't matter. They're both members of the same fraternity, for heaven's sakes. The deep state did not care whether John McCain won or Barack Obama won. One's as good as the other, right? The deep state did not care whether Barack Obama won or Mitt Romney won. I mean, as Hillary Clinton would say, what difference does it make? It doesn't. If you've got a deep state puppet in the White House, it doesn't matter what their party affiliation is. Have we not learned our lesson by now? Does it really matter if we have a Democrat in office as president or a Republican in office as president? It doesn't matter. As long as they carry the water for the deep state, as long as they continue the doctrine of neocon, constant war and constant expansion of the American footprint around the world, getting involved in countries militarily where we've got no business, as long as they keep expanding the budget, paying no mind to the deficits, as long as they keep growing government, rhetoric doesn't matter, ladies and gentlemen. Neocon Nikki Haley can say things to her Republican supporters that might sound really good. But the truth of the matter is, once she gets in office, it doesn't really matter if it's her or Obama, or her or Clinton, or her or McCain, or Romney, or Bush, or whoever. This is the appeal of Trump. Trump is not really a Democrat or Republican. He could go into office with a D or R by his name. Trump is a populist. He is an America First candidate. The appeal of Trump to his supporters is simply this, as I have maintained. It is obvious to those who support Trump that Donald Trump, with all of his flaws, with all of his personality defects, with all of his baggage, this is a man who loves his country. Of this we are convinced. And that makes him palatable to his supporters, to his base. It's the Joe lunchbox. It's the working class. It's guys like me who get up and go to work, play by the rules, pay our taxes, obey the laws, do our best to play by the rules. It's people like me who Trump appeals to because he feels us. He empathizes with us. He doesn't do all the right things. He doesn't even say all the right things. But you're convinced that Trump at least loves his country and would not do anything to harm his country or harm us. He says and does the right things about protecting our borders, something you will never hear out of Joe Biden, who believes the exact opposite. Now, Haley will say the right things when it comes to the border. But once she gets into office, it's just Bush all over again. It's just Cheney all over again. It's just Obama. It's Clinton. It's Biden all over again because she's a puppet of the deep state. This is why she is not acceptable. This is why she is not palatable. She is a woman who is bought. She has been purchased. She does not control herself. She is a pawn. She is easily manipulated by those behind the scenes whose names we don't know, who control her, who pull her strings, who tell her what to say, who tell her what to do, who tell her who to attack militarily. She is not her own man. She is not Donald Trump. To me, this was the appeal of Vivek. He was obviously his own man, but he was saying all the right things. Trump is his own man, and he is saying a lot of the right things. So I am maintaining in this video that Nikki Haley remains in this race as of today's filming, because she has been told that there is a possibility that things aren't over yet. Somebody is in her ear saying, stay in the on-deck circle. We got plans. Now, is what I'm saying far-fetched? It's not far-fetched at all, folks. It is not far-fetched at all. What can you do? What can I do? Well, we can do what we're doing. We can give voice to these ideas that I'm propagating over my YouTube channel. We can do everything in our power as law-abiding American citizens to play by the rules and let our voices be heard, and you can do that as well. Those are my thoughts on Nimrata neocon Nikki Haley. I hope later today she'll do the right thing and get out, but I don't expect her to, because I believe something is afoot. I'd love to hear your comments down below. Let me hear what you have to say about Nimrata Nikki Haley. Hey, give this video a big thumbs up. I would appreciate that very much. And subscribe to the channel if you have not. If you find value in the content, there are links down below where you can support this channel. I would appreciate that very much. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I am Trailer Trash Tim, and I will see you very soon.